Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Fallen London. Today we're going to be carrying on with a stretch in the sky, and we are settling in for the night. At some distance down the corridor, the prison guard is ringing the night bell and shouting. The spy blots his work and stacks it neatly before weighing it down with a chunk of rock. The banded cousin marks her place with a page removed from another book. She tucks her book onto a shelf with a glare that dares anyone to remove it before she's finished. The pirate folds away his sewing, stashes it in a crate in the corner of the room, then stretches, cricking his neck and knuckles. Bed then. He looks at you, then gestures towards a doorway at the far end of the room. We have the delightful privilege of sharing a bedroom, but thankfully there are more than enough berths to go around. To the adjoining dormitory. The dormitory has 6 beds, set out in an arrangement of 2 rows. At the far end is a window, large enough to climb through. It has no bars, but has shutters, perhaps to keep out the light of the false stars. The potential pirate takes the bed nearest the door and kicks his feet onto the pillow to unlace his boots. The retired spy heads straight for the window and closes the shutters, pinning them closed with a thick plank. As soon as the spy sits on his bed, the banded cousin slides past him, knocks the plank to the ground and reopens the window. She sits beside it, grooming. No, the retired spy shakes his head. You do not get to do this. Just for once you can stop playing your ridiculous games. Shut the window immediately. The tiger cleans behind her ear. The spy looks about ready to explode. The pirate looks at you and shrugs. I could sleep through anything. Not my problem. Well, let's hear both sides. Neither the tiger nor the spy look ready to back down, and this is an opportunity. An intervention seems likely to reveal the characters of the prisoners. The banded cousin's voice is a soft purr. The poor dear is very worked up by the notion of a little fresh air. No surprise in his profession. She rests her front paws on the windowsill and looks out. I need it open. It makes me feel less trapped. The spy stares at her for a long moment before speaking. Once again, your greed and your selfishness puts me in danger. His voice is tight, controlled. The window is a way in. I know better than you the nature of what might enter, and I also understand why a broken creature like yourself would choose to be so deluded. The tiger hisses, but does not shift from her station. The retired spy turns to you. Tell her to shut the bloody window. She'll have to listen if we're both against her. The captain won't intervene. He smiles grimly. Or take her side. You're a fool if you stand with her, but if you're willing to sleep in the bed nearest the window, I'll sleep easy. The tiger stares at you without blinking. What will you do? So we have 2 options. We can side with the tiger. He'll leave the window open. Is it really so hard to understand a beast's fear of a cage? Or we can side with the spy. He does not seem the kind to easily confess to fear. And if anything did come through the window, only the tiger has anything like weapons to speak of. I think siding with the tiger here. I feel having the window open can't be too hard. The retired spy closes his eyes, but says nothing. He takes the berth furthest from the window and pulls the covers over his head. The potential pirate is already snoring. The banded cousin considers you, then nods slowly. Thank you. Her voice is soft as lamb's wool. There is satisfaction evident in her tone. And sleep comes. I'm sure this won't bite me at some point. It is still in Upper Newgate, far quieter than the London night below. The occasional sound drifts up to your lonely perch, the distant noises of prisoners groaning, of guards yelling, fade. The greenish light of the false stars pours in from the open window. Were the air thicker, it would be like falling asleep underwater. Your mattress is hard, your pillow thin, and your blanket damp. But slowly you drift towards dreams. So we can spend a night in Upper Newgate. The spy's worries are almost certainly unfounded. Even London's bats rarely soar this high. And besides, what could possibly threaten you when you have a tiger to hand? Perhaps it is the altitude, but once asleep, you sleep deeply. You dream of a breeze rustling through wheat. The susurrus was soothing, lulling you deeper. But you recall opening your eyes to see the tiger, her jaw unhinged like a snake, teeth growing and stretching like pulled toffee. After, you remember a long nightmare of a cage. You are in a zoo. Your cage companions, contortionists, captured from a circus. It must have all been a dream. I hope that's a dream. Oh no. Rise and shine, the guard grins evilly, delighted to rouse you and your companions by banging a rod against a tin plate. The noise rattles through your skull like toothache. From the groans and growls of your companions, they all suffer similarly. Come on, you lot. It's window day. The guard gestures to a box filled with planks. You've got to board all the windows shut before we can make the move. And do it well enough that he searches for words. A clay mammoth couldn't barge its way in. Each of your fellow prisoners heads to a different window. Now is an opportunity to talk to them, out of hearing of the others. Well, let's start with the tiger. Assist the banded cousin. Her paws are singularly ill-suited for holding nails, a fact which makes a good excuse to help her if the work should require conversation. Well. On all fours, the banded cousin barely reaches up to your hip, but the muscles that shift under her skin as she strolls suggest vast strength. Even without the threat of her claws and her long, sharp canine, she has a definite presence. Right now, her golden gaze is focused entirely on you. Her lips are drawn back, an aloof smile or a snarl. Is her snout slightly longer than it was when you first encountered her? Are her teeth sharper and extended, like a saber's tooths? No, it's just your imagination, the haunting residual of that dream. Either way, you have her attention and a moment to talk. What will you ask her? Well, let's start with, what was she imprisoned for? Perhaps she has a different answer to the official one. She pauses in her work, draws herself tall. While I was captured, she spits out the word, aboard the same ship as the other two, that is not the reason they keep me here, she snorts. And that reason is why I am here rather than forced to mingle with commoners in the ordinary prison. Her tail flicks. I am considered a threat to the court of the wakeful eye. That is not the case. I wish to be free, to live in peace, to disturb and be disturbed by no one. But the Admiralty would woo my cousin, and so they mew, at his feet, holding false trials to imprison his imagined foes. She hisses. Perhaps they assuage their conscience, keeping me in such a luxury location. But a cage is a cage. Okay. What was going on with the window? The bandit cousin got her way, and the window was left open while you slept. Little seemed to come of it. Why did it cause such friction? The bandit cousin looks away from you. How do you like being in a cage? Do you find it dehumanizing? She shakes her head. It reminds me that you regard me as a mere animal, something lesser, to be feared and trapped and contained. Respected, but only while I can kill you. She grows still. Like all sapient creatures, I have hopes, dreams, fears. That spy wanted to take hope away from me, when I have little else left. After a long pause, he returns to work. Why are we all being moved? The guards have not tried to hide that you are being shifted, but no one has offered a reason why. Does she know? She looks away, concentrating on her work. We are moving to chambers better suiting my status, where you and the rest will wait on me hand and foot as my loyal servants. She rolls her eyes. For some reason, our captors have not deigned to tell me. We move because we move. Well, you never know. What do you think of the retired spy? You'd like to know about the people you'll be spending the foreseeable with. She's known him longer than you. Perhaps she has an insight. I try not to. For a moment, it looks like this is all she's going to say. Then she relents. Like many of you, he is selfish, but that is not a particularly notable or interesting characteristic. I do not like how he operates, but while we worked together under our captain, he performed his duties sufficiently well for me to raise no serious objection. Interesting. What do you think about the pirate? He has known him far longer than you. He seems a friendly, light-hearted chap, but is there more to him? The captain is... The tiger stops, studies the floor for a long moment. Finally, uncertainly, he is jovial, isn't he? Not what I'd expect for a notorious pirate. I wouldn't believe he was one, even. But he is, of course, a pirate. And infamous at that. But not too infamous. You understand? She bares her teeth. I am not good at this. So he's a notorious pirate, but he's not too notorious. Interesting. Let's choose to help another prisoner. Your 3 cellmates are working in separate sections of the prison. It is an opportunity to talk to each in private. Next is the potential pirate. Is he deliberately acting the clown? Or is he really completely useless? He places a board, abandons it to reach for the nails. The board topples over. He repeats the maneuver. He clearly needs aid. Good of you to join me. I do relish the company. He winks at you. Although, to be frank, at this point I'd even entertain a conversation with the guard. My companions are, of course, a delight, but they have been a delight for a long while. The shine wears off. The man is tall, with military posture. If he seems rather slight for a sailor, well, he is in prison. Less hauling of ropes and hefting of stolen goods here. His good eye glints mischievously when he catches your gaze. This is a man of quick to laugh and even quicker to smile. In theory, we can flirt with a potential pirate. He smiles warmly when he sees you. Perhaps it is indicative of more than just habitual friendliness. You will get a limited number of chances to flirt. If you're the pirate's way inclined, you should take them while you can. Unsure about this. I guess I'll see if I can flirt with the spy as well. Let's ask the other questions first. What are you in for? He seems remarkably sanguine about the whole thing. Does he feel he deserves his fate? Oh, how fragile is memory. The pirate's brow furrows. I hope that you might have heard my dastardly deeds. He sweeps his arm in front of him, gesturing towards the world below the stalactite. The Z, my domain. There I spent years, striking terror into the hearts of sailors, boarding ships and wooing the passengers. I plundered treasure, fought the Admiralty, and... He looks briefly panicked. And Neil Hallese. He pats your upper arm. But don't worry, so long as I'm up here, the Z's are safe. Which is why I'm here, so that the Z's are safe. He really is mad, isn't he? So what was going on with the window? The man winces. There are some things I dislike to get involved in. I prefer not to use my swing vote, especially when really necessary. He sighs. Let's just say, once the windows are boarded up, it won't be a problem, so you can just forget about it. Issue commands. Is he actually the captain? Do you know why we're all being moved? Yes, he grins. Is he going to say more? The potential pirate makes a performance of checking who might be listening. Look, we are strongly discouraged from asking certain questions, and I'd like to remain in the establishment's good books. I think their rationale is, if no one talks about them, then we can pretend they don't exist. And if they don't exist, there's no risk of the news getting back to London. He looks at you, an unusually calculating look in his eye. Those ifs are doing a lot of work here. Okay, what do you think of the retired spy? Well, as anyone can see, he's a man lacking in imagination. He's copied my mustache, but he wears it with far less panache. The potential pirate smooths his own, looking mildly put out. His looks wilted somehow, as if it has given up trying. He grows serious. He's diligent, works like a dog, and has a mind like a knife. A heart like one too, tends to slice through problems. He came to my ship after the bandit cousin did, and resents her. Not for being the first of the two to come to me. No. He claims she's the reason he lost his old job. Interesting. What do you think of the bandit cousin? She's just a big cat, isn't she? He touches your arm, in case you intend to leave before he can clarify. I mean that. Literally. Cats are predators, and so is she. An obligate carnivore, even. He puts down his work, to consider for a moment. I trust her because I understand her. Most people shouldn't because they don't. His mood changes, fickle as a breeze. Don't you want to stroke her? You just wonder if her fur is as soft as it looks. To help another prisoner, let's speak to the spy before we look at this flirting game. Now, we can only flirt with the potential captain. So, should I do it just as a bit of a laugh? Why not? As you pass things to him, your hand touches his. When he stumbles, he reaches for your arm for support, and takes just a fraction too long to steady himself. Surely you don't need to be this near to each other, close enough to feel the warmth radiating from each other, to work efficiently. And yet you are. He does not move any closer, but he makes no effort to draw away. You glance sideways at him. His eyes widen, affecting innocence, but his smile is inviting. I'm sure that'll be fine. What could possibly go wrong with that one? Let's talk to the retired spy. His work is neat enough, but he keeps glancing in your direction. Is he angling for help, or does he want something more? On first glance, the spy is remarkably average, in both height and stature. His hair is a dull brown, worn, unfashionably long, but perhaps only because he lacks access to a barber. His attire is that of an average working Londoner, Even his voice is only describable by what it isn't, neither startlingly high-pitched nor impressively low. He is perfectly formed for his previous profession. His eyes, however, give you pause. They are a pale grey, and give him a thoughtful, resigned expression. When he considers you, as he does now, it is with the grave intensity of a priest. You have a moment to talk with him in private. Where will you start? Well, let's start by asking him what he was in prison for. Ordinary criminals are sent to New Newgate. What does it take to get sent to Upper Newgate? You'll be aware that I was arrested on a pirate ship. Does he know that you know, or is this just a manner of speaking? The ship was owned by a pirate, but I was not committing piracy. There was a show trial and I was sent here. He pinches the bridge of his nose. I was a spy for Her Enduring Majesty's government, an exceedingly good one. He shakes his head. Mine is a career which, if one is not skilled, can be short-lived. He smiles coolly. That was never a risk for me. Instead, I suffered the alternative fate. I became a problem for my employers, who worried that, in certain respects, I knew more than they did. Their guilt and shame led to my confinement here. In case I might betray what they fear, I know. Oh, well, that's a terrible reason to be imprisoned. Let's ask about the window. That. The spy hammers nails into a board with a sudden vehemence. I'm certainly glad we're closing them all up. Not before time. He stands back to observe his handiwork. Not everyone who lives in the roof does so against their wishes. There are worse things than being a prisoner, particularly here. This cage is practically gilded. While his tone is mild, he is furious, clenching his jaw tightly. She would risk our humanity for a doomed hope of regaining something she lost. There is definitely something else going on here. Let's ask what he thinks about the bandit cousin. The spy looks almost amused. I see her for what she is, and she dislikes it. Few enjoy being known as a thug. He shrugs. Isn't that enough to cause a little coolness between us? He goes back to work and stops, unable to resist adding a little more. She makes a great fuss about her nobility, her sapience, but when it comes down to it, she's a beast driven by needs and hungers, just one more articulate than most. He frowns. You shouldn't have sided with her over the window. Exhaustion frays my nerves. I keep seeing her sharpened somehow. A product of poor sleep, no doubt. He gives you an accusatory glance. Oh, he had the dream too? Maybe I shouldn't side with the tiger, guys. Probably a bad idea. What do you think of the potential pirate? There is something mercurial about the man, and his gentle friendliness is at odds with what one might expect from a dangerous pirate. The spy considers you for a moment. The captain certainly has hidden depths. He is not what he might seem, certainly. As the spy returns to his work, you catch a hint of a smile. What isn't he saying? Well, that's all of the prisoners. You will have opportunities to converse with the prisoners, but their answers may change in future conversations. Well, let's indicate to the guard that the job has been adequately done. The windows are all boarded shut. Lanterns have had to be lit to see by. More importantly, you spent all the time you wish with your fellow prisoners. The guard meets your gaze and offers an infinitesimally small nod. Then, an ugly smile smeared upon his face. He rounds the room, holding a lantern up to the boards and tugging on the planks to test their secureness. You note that he isn't particularly scrupulous in checking the window in the dormitory. Finally, he nods. He'll have to do. With a whistle, he summons a helper to remove the tools. Don't want you keeping these, do we? Not that any of you would even dream of a little rebellion, but rules are rules. The retired spy loiters at your elbow. I need a favour. Being here, unable to contact my allies, it's like having my sense of touch removed. He speaks softly, but the tiger's ear twitches. The pirate won't get involved, interferes with his own scheme, and she doesn't approve. The spy wants you to cause a distraction. He'll take advantage of it to break into the guard's office and leave a letter in the incoming post, ostensibly addressed to the spy. The contents will reveal that a contact in London already knows that the guard has been passing reports to the Blind Bruiser, and will release such knowledge if their communication with the spy is in any way hindered. If I told the guard what I knew, he'd make certain I never got a message out. But when he opens my mail to discover I've already got a hold on him, well, I'll be back in business. So we can have three options. We can comply. He isn't asking for much. And if he is in your debt, perhaps he'll confide in you. Offer a little insight into his nature. You can comply in bad faith. If you seem to be trying to help him, but fail, then he'll consider you ineffective, but still on his side. Or we can just straightly refuse. Perhaps you don't want to play both sides. Or perhaps you just dislike the retired spy. You're under no obligation to give a reason. I think we're going to comply. A calculated overreaction. Oh no. A few frantic shouts on the subject. Oh no! Something's getting in! And the guard is charging into the room, complete with hammer, nails, and a burning torch. He checks every window scrupulously. He is relieved, and then furious that all is well. An ordinary prisoner would expect comeuppance after such a deception. Instead, as the guard leaves, he mutters to you. That'd better help you. I can let you off once, twice would look suspicious. The retired spy stands by the exit of the room, smiling. The expression is wiped from his face by the bandit cousin. I see our new friend has stooped to your level. A tone drips with disdain. What is it this time? No, wait. Let me guess. The coward's tool. Blackmail. Am I right? Oh, I think I am. The retired spy turns to the tiger. You smug, self-righteous, overgrown fur coat. That makes her turn to face him. I would have thought you'd have more sympathy for my situation being declawed yourself. No, wait, I mean defanged. Is that all? The bandit cousin's voice is smooth as honey. The tail flicks side to side. You can't even look after yourself. That's why you signed up with the captain. Not a tiger, you're barely even a pet. The blink of an eye. The spy is on his back, struggling to breathe against the weight of a tiger on his chest. The bandit cousin's voice is muffled by the spy's throat in her mouth. Know what, Iger? The retired spy's eyes bulge with terror. We should probably stop this from happening, right? I mean, I kind of feel like letting the tiger rip out the spy's throat is a step too far. So we can intervene or we can leave them to it. The spy may struggle to get back from the boatman this far from the river, and the guard almost certainly make you help with mopping up the blood. Ugh. Or we can leave them be. It would make your decision simpler if you only have to choose between two. And do you really want to wrestle with an apex predator? I will intervene. The bandit cousin does not seem to hear you. It takes a second shout for her ears to twitch, her eyes to unglaze. It is only when you speak of a behaviour fitting nobility, yet she removes her jaws from the spy's throat. She has maintained some degree of self-control. Her long canine has broken the skin, but drawn no more than a trickle of blood. "What's that?" Her voice is light, sweet, disingenuous. "Oh, sorry. We were only playing, but I understand you finding such a scene distressing." She licks her paw to clean her face. Is she embarrassed? It takes a groan from the spy for her to recollect that she's still standing on him. The bandit cousin retreats to the dormitory in silence. The spy staggers shakingly over to his writing desk. The potential pirate rubs his face with his hand. He returns to flicking idly through a book, but his glance over the pages towards his colleagues is watchful. And on that point, I think we'll end this episode here. So thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Let me know what you think. Your comments are greatly appreciated. And as always, I'll see you next time.